Invasion is the worst thing Marvel's ever created. Possible to make a show this bad. Marvel's biggest mistake.
Well, look who finally decided to wake up. Jesus Christ, why do you look like Master Yoda if he was missing a chromosome? Oh, right, sorry. I'm a Skrull, you know, shapeshifter and all that. But that's not important. You see, I need your help. Recently, Marvel projects haven't been doing so hot. And with our newest one, Secret Invasion, my boss wants me to make sure people love this show. This is where you come in. All you need to do is make a video praising the series and you'll never see me again. So, you want me to lie? It's not a lie, the show is the perfect change of pace the MCU needed. It's basically Marvel's version of Andor. You're kidding, right? Secret Invasion is a world-building disaster, has one of the most confusing villains to ever come out of the MCU, and has destroyed Nick Fury as a character. Come on, you're over-exaggerating. Tell you what, if I can prove to you that Secret Invasion is more painful than having your balls lit on fire, then you leave me alone. But if I can't, I'll do what you say. Okay, floor's yours. Alright, for context, Secret Invasion follows. You don't need to recap the show, I've already seen it. Just trust the process. Alright. Thank you. Anyway, Secret Invasion follows the president of ass kickery, Nick Fury, as he is called to help S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Maria Hill and former Skrull General Talos to stop a Skrull invasion on Earth. It seems that many recent conflicts that have sparked around the world may have all been orchestrated by a group of Skrulls, who are aliens that can mimic another individual down to the DNA. Think of them as the Pokemon Ditto, except instead of impersonating Pokemon, it turns into your mother, being able to transform into anyone just by seeing them once, and even able to absorb recent memories with a simple touch. But instead of using these abilities for fun crimes like robbery or tax evasion, Fury realizes this made them perfect spies. So after befriending them in 1997 with the help of Talos, he made a deal with the Skrulls on Earth. They help him gather intel on selected targets, and in return, he and Captain Marvel will help find them a new home. However, after over a decade of no progress and Fury leaving Earth to work on space stuff after he was blipped back into existence, a young Skrull named Gravik felt used and betrayed, so he gathered a group of rebel Skrulls, whose goal is to create havoc throughout the world by replacing people who are in positions of power. Now it's up to Fury to stop Gravik before he leads to the extinction of the human race. It's basically that lizard people conspiracy, but turned into a Disney Plus series. Which, when you think about it, is actually an interesting concept. A show where you don't know who to trust with a focus on spy work and infiltration? Well, sign me the hell up. Unfortunately, Secret Invasion proceeds to fall flat on its face in execution within the first 5 minutes. Oh, come on, what could possibly be wrong in the first 5 minutes? Well, Oscar the Grouch Reject, I'm glad you asked. You see, in the very first Earth episode, we see Everett Ross. Who? This guy from the Black Panther movies meet up with a government agent who believes that Skrulls have invaded and been manipulating conflicts on Earth. The agent wants to get this information to Fury, but Ross is hesitant to do so without physical evidence. So the agent complies, and after showing some hard proof to his theory, proceeds to then attack Ross, which leads to the agent's death. We later find out, after Talos watches Ross make out with the pavement, that he is in fact a Skrull. Now on the surface, this seems fine. You get introduced to the Skrulls, their powers, and by making the first one you see a recognizable character, or at least someone Marvel thinks is a recognizable character, it primes the audience to be distrustful towards certain characters. However, the problem is that when you look at this show's placement in the MCU's timeline as is, it makes no damn sense. Let me explain. It's confirmed that Secret Invasion takes place after She-Hulk, Sorry, that's just my natural reaction when discussing that show. Anyway, it takes place after She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Ross's last appearance was in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which takes place before that mockery of a show. Now, in Wakanda Forever, something important happens to Ross. That being, he gets arrested by the CIA for secretly exchanging classified intelligence with the Wakandans. So, for argument's sake, let's assume that somehow the Skrulls were able to infiltrate Wakanda and take Ross without anyone knowing. This agent should know that Ross was arrested and potentially maybe AWOL, which means at worst he should be at least skeptical about him leaving Wakanda, and at best should have him undergo some kind of test to prove he's not a Skrull before handing over your only piece of hard evidence to him, especially because you believe the Skrulls have invaded. How is it that the most unrealistic aspect of this show isn't the alien shapeshifters, but the fact that a government conspiracy nut would willingly give his strongest piece of evidence to a former government official? Either Disney is just naive or have never been on a site like 4chan. Like, I challenge you to try what Ross did on a conspiracy page without having the original poster asking you for your name, address, and pant size.
You just blowing from Stupid Town?
Dear Lord, we are literally 5 minutes into this show, and if this is what we have to look forward to, I'm gonna be shaking hands with God real quick. And this is a recurring problem throughout the show, to where characters' decisions are so dumb, saying they're dumber than a bag of bricks would be an insult to the fucking bricks. I think the best example of this is shown with the main villain Gravik and his grand plan.
First, I'm gonna kill you. And then, I'm gonna take a flamethrower to humanity!
Gravik may be simultaneously the most overpowered and most moronic villain I have ever had the displeasure of watching. For context, Gravik first met Fury back when he made his initial deal with the Skrulls to be his personal spy unit. Eventually, Gravik would join this group, but slowly start to build resentment, with Fury not holding up his end of the bargain. And after the eye-patched agent abandoned the Earth, don't worry, I'll crucify Fury later, it was the last straw. Gravik then started the Skrull Rebellion with the goal to cause enough tension throughout the world to eventually spark the nuclear annihilation of the human species. On top of that, Gravik's scientists have created a machine that can give Skrulls the ability to mimic superpowers, turning them into Super Skrulls. However, they only have a limited amount of DNA. So Gravik is looking for a device called the Harvest, which contains the DNA of everyone who fought in the final fight of Endgame, and would make Gravik damn near unstoppable. Like, imagine having the strength of Hulk with the speed of Captain Marvel. Anyone in your way has unknowingly become a speed bump. Now, admittedly, there's a lot to unpack here, but this tower of taint can be broken down into two main problems. Those being the rebellion's attack on the President of the United States and the creation of the Super Skrulls. Let's start off with the attempt on the president's life, as it better emphasizes the problems with the Super Skrulls, and we can see where this ranks on the tier list. As stated before, the Skrull Rebellion is trying to stoke conflict throughout the major powers on Earth. So in episode 1, they bomb a festival plaza in Moscow and pinned it on the United States, by not just impersonating Americans that were a part of an online Russian hate group, but also shooting and killing Maria Hill. So now, there is also a dead US agent at the scene of the attack. Oh, Maria Hill's dead, by the way. This probably seems weird to bring it up out of nowhere without any build-up, considering this is a very accomplished character who's been around since phase 1, but hey, I don't make the rules, Secret Invasion does. Anyway, so the Skrull Rebellion has already... I'm sorry, I can't do this. What the f***, show? You seriously just killed off Maria Hill like this? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend she's as important of a character as someone like Black Widow, or Hawkeye, or fucking Ned. Hell, I don't really even have a problem about her dying. My issue comes with the circumstances that surround it, as it makes Fury and Hill seem so incompetent that they look like they could barely overthrow a kid hogging the sandbox, let alone hold governments as spies. Let me explain. You see, both Fury and Hill have extensive knowledge of the Skrulls and their abilities. Plus, they know that they are gonna be going to a place where enemy Skrulls will likely want to kill them. So, knowing all of this, why didn't they set up some kind of safeguard so they wouldn't get duped? Like, all they need to do is be like, hey, if we get separated, keep your guard up, because we're dealing with damn shapeshifters.
You can't be this stupid!
I genuinely don't understand. They know the Skrulls can't obtain long-term memories without a machine. So all they had to do was ask each other something they would know from their past. Even if we go with the show's explanation that Nick f***ing Fury is losing his touch, which is a whole other can of ass I'm gonna have to deal with later, what is Maria's excuse? Alright, okay. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, So with the attack on Moscow, much like every Call of Duty campaign, Russia has become on edge towards the States. Now, Gravik needs to give the US the same kind of push, leading to his attack on the president. Luckily, Fury and Talos were tracking the situation and was able to hold him off. It's also really lucky that Gravik doesn't want to expose himself as a Skrull, as was confirmed in this line.
You don't understand the first thing about humans. They're at their most formidable when they're threatened by a common foe.
Have you forgotten how we fight?
Do you think I'm gonna let you continue this war under the cover of anonymity? Then you'll be the author of our people's extermination.
Thank God too, because if that wasn't the case, our heroes would be screwed. I say that because by this time in the story, Gravik has turned himself into a Super Skrull, which even with the limited DNA his scientists had, he was able to gain the abilities of Groot, a Frost Beast, this big chungus from Thanos' crew, and the power of Adrian Killian from Iron Man 3. This man basically put all of his points in defense, and I'm pretty sure can tank an artillery shell if he had to. So yeah, he's pretty strong, but once again, it's lucky that it's important that the US government doesn't know Skrulls involved. Look, us Skrulls aren't the smartest. Are you guys all brain dead? Seriously, what is the point of being so concerned with Talos revealing the Skrulls if you are just going to use your powers in front of all these American soldiers, who also apparently have no peripheral vision? Actually, now that I think about it, you could have used your powers from the jump. Think about it. Even if Gravik used his powers, he could have played it off as being a Russian agent, like saying some stereotypical line like, "The Russian president sends his regards," in earshot of the other soldiers before killing the president. I mean, seriously, new metas are popping up faster than guys when we found porn for the first time. Like, you could have played it off, instead of only using it to kill Talos. By the way, you also have now not only revealed that the Skrulls were involved, but because you didn't do anything that was suggested above, there is still going to be doubt whether the United States should escalate the war in Russia, as it was clear to everyone there that Talos was trying to save the president. God damn it, this is just terrible planning from Gravik. However, somehow, this still isn't the stupidest decision he has made. No, that, my friends, will be everything he decides to do to get the harvest. For context, Gravik realizes during the show that Fury moved this item's location, and being how secretive Fury is, it would make sense to assume that he's the only one who knows this location. So if that's the case, can I ask you, why the f did you order Fury's Skrull wife? Yeah, Fury has a wife named Vara, she's not... Later, I promise. Why would you order her to kill him in episode 4? By that point, it's become pretty obvious that all the places you thought Fury would hide the harvest aren't turning out well. So why ruin your one chance to be basically invincible? Yeah, Vara doesn't end up going through with it, but what if she did? Then you'd really be up shit's creek without a paddle. But it's not just that decision, because on top of that, there are several opportunities to where you just could have captured Fury. For context, it's revealed to the audience that Rhodey, aka War Machine, is actually a Skrull working for Gravik. Yeah, don't worry, we're going to talk about this too later. But what you need to know now is that Rhodey is the right-hand man of the president and is very trusted within the government. And throughout the show, there are multiple opportunities where Rhodey has Fury surrounded. They could have captured him, tossed him into the memory Google Drive machine, and bam, you have the location of the harvest. I mean, come on, you want me to believe that this chuckle is smart enough to trick several world powers into going to war with each other when he has the critical thinking skills of a damn chinchilla?
But wait! There's more!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, there is more, because believe it or not, there's actually another huge issue with the Super Skrulls, and it involves a character who I haven't brought up yet. So, say hello to Giah. She's the daughter of Talos, who was working with Gravik at the start of the season. But after learning he killed her mother, she starts leaking information to her father and Fury. Gravik eventually finds out about this and supposedly kills her. But before that happened, she turned herself into a Super Skrull as an insurance policy, and thanks to these new powers, she survives. Giah then proceeds to do nothing until the finale, where she is a big component in Fury's plan to stop Gravik. For context, Gravik finally realizes that, hey, I could probably leverage my current control in order to get Fury to give me the harvest, especially because he has Rhodey to convince the president to attack Russia. So he calls and gives the ultimatum. Fury will give him the harvest, and in return, Gravik will call off the US strike. Eventually, Fury complies, giving Gravik what he wants, and in turn, the abilities of Captain America, Captain Marvel, this ugly bastard from Infinity War, these ugly twats from the Battle of Wakanda, Proxima Midnight, Abomination, Mantis, Discount Hulk, Drax, Korg, Noseless Squidward, a Frost Beast, the Chitauri, Gamora, Valkyrie, f***ing Thor, Groot, Winter Soldier, Hulk, Ghost, and goddamn Thanos. And you know what? I'm going to ignore the fact that we are missing 2 crucial Avengers whose powers would make this already OP character even more powerful, those being Spider-Man and Scarlet Witch, who definitely spilled blood on that fight, and the fact that this vial also contains the DNA of Abomination from the Incredible Hulk, and Ghost, the main villain from Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2 characters that were nowhere near the endgame fight, yet somehow still got their fluids collected. Believe me, I'd like Ghost to spit on me as much as the next guy, but this still makes 0 sense. No, I'm going to ignore all that in favor of breaking down this, where Gravik turns himself into the ultimate Super Skrull, and realizing that Fury is still in the chamber, he tries to kill him. But it's revealed that this is actually Giah, who as a result of also being in the chamber, now has the same powers as Gravik. The two end up fighting and somehow are both able to use these new powers flawlessly on their first attempt, which makes no damn sense. Think about it, it's not like the Skrulls are able to take memories just from DNA, otherwise they could have used this to their advantage during several moments throughout the show. So this fight should be a lot sloppier. Like, Giah is able to somehow use the powers of Mantis and Ghost with no problem. That latter one in particular makes as much sense as using an M1 Abrams as your alarm, because Ghost herself had problems controlling her abilities until the intervention of Janet Van Dyne. But Giah can use them with no problem. Oh, also, for some reason, Gravik doesn't use this intangibility power at all for no good reason. Like, you were the one who collected the DNA. You should know what's available from your Omnitrix-sized ability pool way more than Giah. And this complete mental shutdown of Gravik's common sense leads to this fight ending with his death. And now, sprouting from the shit like a smelly flower, a new problem has been born for the MCU going forward. That problem being that Giah is officially the most powerful character in the MCU. Now, during any fight for the Earth, people are going to be wondering where Giah is, and every movie that doesn't want to use her, which would be 99% of them, will need to make up some kind of excuse, because, let's be honest here, who the fuck is beating Giah? She has the durability of Groot, Hulk, and Thanos, the speed and powers of Captain Marvel, intangibility, mind manipulation, and the DNA of a god in Thor. What makes this even worse is that Giah isn't even a fucking character. She is a tool for other characters to use. Hey Giah, go plant this bomb. Hey Giah, go get me this crucial intel that could blow your cover. Hey Giah, go fight this Super Skrull who was created as a result of my own actions. God, I fucking hate Fury in this. Focus. That's all Giah is. She is a tool to push the plot forward. And you want to know what's messed up about that? It could have worked. Genuinely, just hear me out. What if we ran with the idea of people constantly using Giah? She could start off feeling the same way Gravik does about Fury, to where she feels like he used their people. But as she learned more about Gravik and uncovered the truth that he's the one who killed her mother because he wanted to further keep her on his side, Giah can realize that she's once again being used. She could still help out Talos and Fury after this, but when she does, she can make the decision to join them as an equal, and even work with Fury to come up with the plan to prevent the president's death during Gravik's attack. Now, look at the situation we just put this character in. Joining Talos and Fury and the subsequent plan was, from her perspective, the first action she has done in recent memory where she wasn't answering to anyone else's will. This was her choice. And it leads to the death of her father. This could lead Giah questioning herself and her decisions. Here is where you could use Fury to help further develop a new character for the MCU. You know, what they should have done! He could sit Giah down and explain to her that throughout his time in S.H.I.E.L.D., he has made a lot of bad decisions, many of which led to the people he cared about getting hurt, and he wishes he could tell Giah it gets better, but he knows that's a lie. However, one thing he can tell her is that Talos understood the risk, and if given the chance, he would follow her lead again. On top of that, it was thanks to her involvement that the president got out of there alive. In the field, variables are going to change, often ones you don't see coming, but Giah needs to trust that she made the right decision with the intel she had, and next time, she could learn from that loss. Yeah, it's not a perfect concept, but at least it's a fucking character arc. Actually, it could work even better if we have it so after Giah becomes a Super Skrull for the first time, she has trouble controlling her new powers as a result of her constantly second-guessing herself. But once she starts trusting her own judgment, she'll be able to be in control. And maybe we can even have that be the way she gains the edge on Gravik, by putting him on tilt throughout the fight, causing him to lose control. I don't know, but don't you see that this character could work? However, for some moronic reason, Marvel's writers are obsessed with giving none of their new characters any actual arcs.
This is called failure.
And that's Secret Invasion. Overall, it's a pretty bad show.
Hey, wait a minute. You haven't talked about Nick Fury yet.
You don't want me to talk about Nick Fury. Why not? Trust me, you don't want me to talk about Fury.
Why? What are you afraid of? Hell, maybe Fury's the best part of the show.
What did you say to me? You, my friend, must have suffered from some kind of brain injury, because Nick Fury may be the worst part of Secret Invasion, as this show assassinated his character so hard it makes Archduke Vertahan's death look like a f***ing picnic. This show's attack on Fury's character was on 3 fronts, those being his past, his current stupid decisions, and his final choice in the finale, which may be the biggest f*** you to a character I've ever seen. Let's start with taking a look at Fury's past. More importantly, the retcon of his accomplishments. For context, in episode 2, we learn about Fury using the Skrulls on Earth as his personal spy network. Within that same episode, Talos reveals to Fury that there have been over 1 million Skrulls on Earth since that meeting. Now, I'm going to ignore the obvious question on why Talos didn't tell Fury this vital piece of information when he is one of the few humans he actually trusts.
This man, I trust. You know I don't use that word lightly.
Just know that this tension that is created between these characters is what leads to this horrific line in episode 3.
Let's see. When I came here in 1995, you were just a benchwarming nobody in a dumpy field office in S.H.I.E.L.D. Every time you were promoted inside S.H.I.E.L.D., we did that. Every terror attack you prevented, we did that. Every enemy you sabotaged, an ally you leveraged with dirt no one else in the world had access to, we did that.
What? So you're telling me that everything that Fury has accomplished that made him the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. would not have been possible if it wasn't for the Skrulls? Writers, what kind of drugs are you on? And more importantly, can I have some? Because it must be some good shit if it made you blind to how much this screws over Nick Fury. Before this show, Fury was seen as one of the best spies in the MCU, able to play off of others' emotions to get the results he wants, always 5 steps ahead of whoever he was up against, and was willing to make the hard call if it meant the further protection of the planet. Now, with this new information, and keep in mind, Fury doesn't deny any of this, all of these skills didn't play a factor in him rising the ranks as fast as he did. Nope, it was all luck that he was the agent that met the Skrulls and took advantage of their abilities. Thank you, Marvel. Thank you for f***ing up another OG character for Phase 1. God, these writers assassinate more characters than the world's best hitman. I'm glad Tony Stark is dead, or else they'd be coming for him next. But that's not the only thing we are retconning today, because it's time to look at Fury's wife, Vara.
Aren't you forgetting something?
This has to be one of the most pointless changes I have ever seen made for a character. For context, the show explains that Vara was one of the original Skrulls that signed on to Fury's spy network back in 1997. She then reconnected with him sporting a new face that was specifically chosen to get dicked down by Nick Fury in 1998 and again in 2012 after the events of the first Avengers movie. So, it's safe to assume that the earliest they got married was 2012, and the big change to Nick Fury's character as a result of now having a wife all this time is nothing. Huh? Yeah, there really aren't any decisions Fury has made that required him to be single. The constant untrusting and mission-focused mindset from his prior appearances help with that.
Ha, you see, Fury's actually a well-written character.
However, oh for f***'s sakes, this doesn't mean this is a good change by any stretch of the imagination. You see, Vara is so inconsequential to the story that if you take her out of it, nothing would change. The only action she does that affects the main plot is her refusal to kill Fury, and that could definitely be tweaked without her. This creates a problem that not a lot of people think about. That being how Vara is hogging valuable screen time that could be used to develop our other characters. People, and myself included, always talk about what we could add to a character to make them better written, when in reality, sometimes it's just better to just cut them out completely. Look at a movie like Into the Spider-Verse. The film does a great job at balancing how much they develop each Spider-Person, while still keeping Miles as the focus. Now let's say the director woke up one day and decided to give Spider-Man Noir the same amount of exploration as Peter B. Parker. This change would mean less time would be dedicated to our 3 core characters, as just adding these scenes outright would screw with the pacing. This is the problem with Vara. Cutting her out of the series completely would give us more time to develop Fury. I mean, the show is always talking about how he has changed as a result of the blip, but this mindset is never explored. We maybe get 2 scenes talking about it, but that's as deep as it goes, which genuinely baffles me. The idea of seeing how the most overly cautious person in the MCU deals with a post-Thanos world can be really interesting, especially because he was a part of the group that got snapped away. Instead, the show decides to waste our time with Vara. I mean, if you really didn't want to use that extra time on Fury, what about using it on Talos or Giah or any other character that actually plays a part in the story? Instead, we are stuck with a character who would have been more useful if she was a damn paperweight.
Real quick, before you finish, you still suck.
Unfortunately, this is only the beginning of this train wreck. What's that? You want to see more? Well, all aboard the short bus, because it's time to look at Fury's decisions in the show that make me want to have a damn seizure. We already talked about how dumb it was for him and Hill to not have some kind of code to use to make sure they aren't Skrulls. But that is merely a small hiccup compared to Fury's reasons for not calling the Avengers to help with this threat. For context, early in the show, Fury mentions that he doesn't want to call the remaining Avengers to help him because he was worried that they'd be taken and replaced by the Skrulls.
Maybe we should call our friends.
No. We can't jump the gun on that. You know, we get them in a fight with the Skrulls, and next thing you know, they find themselves duplicated and turned into terrorists.
Which, in some way, I understand, because let's say Gravik touches Banner and gets the powers of the Hulk, it'd be pretty bad. I'm sure there are problems that comes with this line, but honestly, it isn't terrible. Not like the line we get in episode 5 that tells us the real reason Fury isn't calling the Avengers.
Fury, why haven't you called any of your special friends down?
This is personal. We can't keep depending on these superheroes to swoop in and save our asses. None of them have lived the life I have. None of them can defend the world the way I can.
Well, f me in the nose with a 2x4. You cannot be serious. You stupid motherfucker. Fury would never put the world at risk because of his pride? Do you know nothing about your main character? How the f do you think the Avengers were assembled in the first place? This man was basically ready to allow a flying T-34 to target people before they committed crimes in the Winter Soldier, and still proceeds to help Cap take down the organization he helped build up once it was compromised. Fury never let his pride get in the way, so why the fuck is he doing that now? Are you mental? All this does is make Fury look like a jackass, and it's not like he is like this at the start of the show and he needs to learn to work past the pride he developed when he left Earth. This is the second to last episode, and it's still like, yeah, I'm gonna give Gravik the harvest, basically make him a god, and still not call anyone to at least back up Giah. But would you believe me if I told you it gets worse?
That's impossible!
Yes, it does, because the finale reaches stupidity so high that if you were to tell me this episode was written by a 3rd grader who's been sniffing glue his entire life, I'd believe you. So, let's go through the final moments of this mental breakdown of a show. We've already discussed the final fight between Gravik and Giah. However, at the same time that's going down, Fury is in a 3-way standoff with the President and Skrull Rhodey. For context, After not being able to kill the president due to his own incompetence, Gravik shifts his plans to put the US and Russia at war with each other by having Rhodey convince the president that the Russians are working with the Skrulls, supposedly proving this by showing him pictures of the Skrull bases that are located in Russia. The strike is eventually approved, so throughout this special needs standoff, Fury is trying to convince the president to call off the strike, and that Rhodey is a Skrull. While Rhodey's case is that Fury is lying and the best course of action is to attack Russia. This eventually ends with Fury using Skrull Rhodey's brains to paint a mosaic on the hospital walls, causing the president to unpack that his trusted right-hand man was not who he thought he was, and proceeds to call off the strike. We then see Giah releasing all the humans Gravik has captured, including Rhodey, who seems to have been here since Civil War, considering he's wearing the same hospital gown he had on during that scene. Anyway, we then see the president— Wait a damn minute! Rhodey has been here since Civil War? No, they can't be that stupid. Here, give me a second.
A lot of people have asked about, definitely, when did Rhodey? I think his legs not working in the end of episode 6 and him being in the hospital gown points to Captain America Civil War.
Oh, cool. Okay. Alright, just give me a second to adjust my reaction. You know, won't give a proper— This breaks the whole f***ing show! Yeah, we're about to go on another tangent, ladies and gentlemen, so buckle up because I'm about to lose my damn mind. Let me explain. You see, in episode 5, Fury reveals that Gravik was a part of the team that gathered the DNA for the Harvest after the Battle of Endgame. Meaning, the soonest that Gravik would have defected and started the Skrull Rebellion would have been after Avengers Endgame. This is because if it was any time before that, Gravik would have kept the Harvest for himself. So, my question is that if during the events of Civil War, Gravik was still loyal to Fury, then why the fuck did the Skrulls replace Rhodey during that time? They had no problem with Fury, so what was the purpose? Were they bored one day? Was it a practical joke that they forgot about? At first, I thought, oh, this could have been the work of the other group of close to 1 million Skrulls that Talos didn't tell Fury about. However, in episode 6, we see the base of those Skrulls being separate from Gravik's. So, no matter how you slice up this timeline, it doesn't make a lick of sense. But you wanna know what's hilarious? I called this in my last Flash video, where we not only finally get Diggle and Oliver giving their final goodbyes, which still baffles me that it wasn't in Crisis. Seriously, it'd be like not having Pepper or Rhodey there at Tony's death.
This guy is fucking stupid!
God, if this is the crap I'm predicting, I really need to consider just shutting up. So, this means everything that Rhodey did in Infinity War and Endgame wasn't Rhodey at all. He didn't stop Thanos, he didn't see Tony die, and he didn't get to say his final goodbye to his best friend. Nope, it was all a Skrull. F*** this show! Breathe, Gio. Breathe, you're almost done. You are almost done. Anyway, after all these shenanigans are done and Gravik is defeated, the President of the United States issues a statement to the world, revealing the existence of the Skrulls and passing a bill that labels all Skrulls as enemy combatants.
Tonight, I'm presenting to Congress for immediate emergency authorization a bill that designates all off-world-born species enemy combatants. We know who you are. We know how to find you. And we will kill every last one of you.
It also seems that this bill has inspired acts of vigilantism happening across the world, as groups of civilians are attacking anyone they expect to be a Skrull. Now, this may possibly be the most brain-dead decision ever made by a politician, and boy, that is saying a lot. You are informing the world that there are alien terrorists on Earth who have the ability to shapeshift into your neighbor, and you basically have a kill-on-sight order if you expect them to be one. Do you not see how bad this will turn out? What if you kill someone who isn't a Skrull? Do all you have to say in court is that you thought they were one and you get out scot-free? Gee, I can imagine that being used in any malicious way. Hell, they actually show this happening in Europe. So what happens now? Is the president going to label you as a hero for killing a Skrull, or a deranged man who has made a mistake? Do I think Marvel is going to tackle these questions? Well, considering they still haven't fully addressed the consequences of the blip, What the hell do you think? Now, Mr. President, allow me to ask you something. You see, what if people start to think that you are a Skrull? Are they allowed to take a shot at you? You seem to be acting suspicious, Mr. President. Perhaps you were replaced with a Skrull, meaning I have my God-given right to put a 50 cal right between your fucking eyes. Okay, well, now the Earth is in a state of panic. So, with Nick Fury realizing that abandoning the Earth last time is what led to Gravik's invasion and wants to keep the good Skrulls safe, Fury does the one thing he knows he has to do. He decides to leave Earth again. Are you kidding me? This is a joke, right? This has to be a joke. There's no possible way the writers revolved the whole plot around the consequences of Nick Fury abandoning the Earth, only to then have him abandon the Earth after the world is put into panic. Thanks a lot, Fury, you f***ing asshole. You see the president sow doubt in everyone's trust in their fellow man, and then you just up and leave? No. This is a simulation. This is not real. Do you not read your own scripts? Anyone tell me I'm missing something here, please. Because I refuse to believe that these laughing, joking, no-brain having, glue-sniffing, Fury porn watching, She-Hulk loving, orangutan f***ing troglodytes are this stupid.
Okay. Maybe Secret Invasion isn't the best.
Isn't the best, my brother in Christ. I've seen more consistency in Drunk Drivers than in this show. It works its ass off to retcon any aspect its plot touches. It destroys characters' pasts, their intelligence, and even emotional moments just so they could have a wow, isn't that crazy reveal, without understanding the consequences of that mindset. Hell, I didn't even mention the massive plot hole this show creates for Captain America and the Winter Soldier. For context, Secret Invasion reveals that S.H.I.E.L.D. have known about the Skrulls since 1995, and that data was never wiped. Shout out to Screen Rant, who discovered that on Fury's rap sheet from episode 2, under known enemies, is Phil Coulson Skrull. Now, if y'all don't remember, in the climax of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow makes all of S.H.I.E.L.D./Hydra's files and documents public. And according to the movie, there's no way to be selective about what gets released.
Disabling security protocols and dumping all the secrets onto the internet. If you do this, none of your past is going to remain hidden.
So that means the public should have known about Skrulls years ago. Hell, you, my friend, are just as stupid as Secret Invasion. You are a Skrull. You could have replaced me instead of trying to convince me to make a video about this dog water of a show. But instead, your goblin-looking ass is just listening to me ramble. Hell, you are so stupid, you didn't even realize that I've been cutting myself out of these ropes this whole time, and I'm about to send you into the damn stratosphere.
Wait, what?
Rasengan! Secret Invasion is a mess. The show is ignorance personified. The idea itself is actually a really interesting concept. Having these characters be inherently distrustful with each other can lead to a very engaging story. Hell, imagine if this was an Avengers movie. Seeing characters like Sam Wilson and Pepper Potts react to Rhodey being a Skrull is something I'm sure many people would have liked to see. But most importantly, a story like this that can cause a massive impact on the world building of the MCU needs to be done with care and precision. You can't be making simple mistakes like having Rhodey taken from Civil War, or retconning characters' backstories for the worst like Nick Fury. All you're doing is destroying the foundation the MCU was built on, and the audience can tell. The final episode was the lowest rated Marvel title ever. It doesn't help that in response to the negative reaction, the director said this.
Is your job to fulfill their expectations or to tell the story that we're telling?
No, it's not your job to fulfill every fan's theories of what they may want to happen. But when our expectations are for you to tell a consistent story that builds off of the MCU rather than tearing it down to make room for your own changes, then yes, it is your job to fulfill expectations. Because when you don't, you get Secret Invasion, a show that everyone wishes would be able to shapeshift into a bottle of gin so we can all forget the trash we all exposed ourselves to. God, Marvel is so boned. That was Secret Invasion. What'd you guys think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's a sin on humanity? Let me know down in the comment section down below. God, it feels good. It feels good to be back here doing an outro. It's been a while since I did an outro actually in my room, but like, this is a time where I could reflect. I could think back of the process of making this video, and I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. I had a really good time making this video. I think it may be one of my best videos. I love how it all came together, trying to improve on a couple things, and yeah, I really like it. In regards to the Patreon, things are going to be changing. I'm realizing that I can't really keep up with myself, and I don't really want to promise you guys things that I know I can't deliver on. So I'm literally just going to merge everything into more or less one, just have two relatively low prices that are just, if y'all want to support, or that's how you could do it. I don't want to overpromise anything, because I find myself doing this where I'll promise the world, and it will be something that just I can't either bring myself to do, or I'm so head deep into the project that I'm working on, I just can't focus on it. So I don't want to make you guys feel like you're getting screwed over. So yeah, those are the changes that I'm going to be doing. And once again, thanks to Trevor for constantly supporting the Patreon. I really appreciate it, even though I haven't really done much with it. But yeah, thank you so much for supporting it. So that's another video in the books. The question is, what's next? It's Ahsoka. It's gonna be Ahsoka. Believe me, I got some things to say about the show. But until then, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Guys, liked it, and you're new to the channel, hit that like and the subscribe button. Also, if this channel has potential, hit the same buttons. Anyway, my name has been Gio. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Y'all are changing my life every day. And I'll talk to y'all later. Wait. Yes. Peace.